you work under pressure?
Yeah, I feel I can work under pressure. At the moment I work for the Citizens Advice Bureau, and there's many occasions where I work under pressure to tight deadlines where my actions could result in financial turmoil for my clients. I recently took my client to the employment tribunal where he won his case. In that case in particular, there are many tight deadlines. The decision I learned to take him to the tribunal was a decision that could have resulted in financial turmoil for him.
Can I just check? You said you took your client to the tribunal. Were you the one?
I didn't act on his behalf. I did all the work for him,
right.
and then accompanied him to the tribunal.
Okay,
where he represented himself.
That's better, because you're using legal terminology in the wrong places. Because if I take you to the tribunal, that normally means I'm suing you.
Yeah, sorry.
So just be very careful with that. And the other thing was, the question was, can you work under pressure? Now, if I was a solicitor and I was with a client and they asked me a question, can you do this thing? Then normally the answer is yes or no, which is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is to say yes or no and then give a specific example. Absolutely. Which is quite hard, isn't it? Because it's your chance to give an answer, and all of a sudden you've been asked a yes or no question. But there's a perfectly good argument for saying, yes, I act under pressure, and then to give something else after it.
What do you expect to be doing in 5 years' time?
In 5 years' time, I would expect to be either one of two things really, either a partner within a firm or still working my way up to achieving being a partner in a firm.
Which firm?
This firm in particular.
Okay. Then why would you want to be a partner?
I think the responsibility from that role is something that I'd like to...
So if you're not a partner in 5 years' time, how would you cope with the failure?
I think it would inspire me to work even harder towards my goals.
Alright, try not to aim too high as a partner. It's very rare to get somebody in a, say that in a medium or larger firm, it'd be fairly rare to see them becoming partner after 3 years, because you've got a training contract, haven't you, first, and then you've got 3 years to get from assistant to associate to partner. And if you're aiming that high, some firms would think that you're trying to be a high flyer, when actually they don't want a high flyer. If you think about it for most firms, medium-sized law firm on the high street, do they want a partner, or do they want someone that they can give a wage to who flogs their guts out for the next 25 years? And the answer is probably the latter and not the first.
Question in regards to that. I've noticed a lot of firms often, when they ask you about your ambition and stuff, and you get the idea from the interview as it comes so far, they don't really want someone that wants to progress to a training contract or wants to progress, beyond that. They kind of just want someone that wants to sit in that particular role. How do you address it so that, you want to be in that job, but how do you hide your true ambition?
I'll give you a specific example on this. Pete is currently dealing with a firm in Manchester called, who are looking to recruit a crime paralegal. And every time Pete sends them a CV, he gets an email back from the partner saying, this person is going to want a training contract, we're not interested. So any sign of a qualification, they instantly get rejected. And that's very common. Now you're going for paralegal posts, aren't you, effectively? And often with paralegal posts, the firm don't want somebody who's got the LPC. And if they have got the LPC, they want a strong commitment and sign from them that they're not going to want a training contract in future. If you work it out from the economic side, a paralegal costs $22,000 a year. A training contract's going to cost them anything from 16,000 up to 35, depending on the firm. And then once they finish, A, they've got to pay for a practicing certificate, and B, they're expecting a salary hike. If they don't get it, they're finished. They leave the firm. So the best way of dealing with it is to avoid it completely. If you get asked what you're planning to do, you say that you're a career paralegal. Okay, if you're looking for a permanent paralegal post, and try and keep off the training contract side of things completely. For some of the firms that you're going for, I would imagine that your chances of getting from paralegal to training contracts are next to slim, if nothing, because people go to those firms as trainees or paralegals. They never jump from one to the other.
So avoid the subject if you can. If they do bring it up, just say you've focused on the paralegal side of things.
Spot on.
In that position then, but if not being a paralegal, you want to be as a solicitor, you're going to be do the training contract, you're going to say, I want to still stay in the firm, be working my way up in the firm. Is that what we're going to say?
Absolutely, because that firm is going to invest lots and lots of time in you and money. So you've got to give them some sort of sign of commitment. Not that in 2 years' time you intend to see what the market's like, and if there's anything better you'll leave and join another firm. You've got to say, excuse me, in 5 years' time you expect to be in this firm working your way up.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
That's a good one. I think Superman was always one of my favourites. He could fly, he could do everything. He's indestructible. I think that's something that would be probably the best superpower.
Okay.
Being able to fly.
Try not to do that thing with your face. There you go, like that, right? And like that. Okay. Try and keep your answer. Yeah, I'd like to be Superman because he's got lots of powers, and I can see that he could fly, and that would be really good. Just keep it down those lines. These are moving us on to the silly questions in interviews, and these are extremely common. If you had to take someone to a desert island with you, who would you take and why?
I would take Matt Damon.
Okay. Why is a silly question, but go on, why?
So you get to know him better.
Okay, right. Difficult questions because you don't know what the person on the other side of the table's sense of humour is. And one of the things you need to be very careful with in interviews is trying to be too funny and them not picking it up. Solicitors and barristers on the whole have a very dry sense of humour, and it's very hard to give a jokey answer, so it's often better not to. Even if it is a jokey answer, it's better just to present it as what you do. Who would you take on a desert island? I'd take Matt Damon. Why? Because I'd like to get to know him better. Fine, yeah? And if they've got a sense of humour, they'll probably, okay, fine, chuckle, chuckle, move on. Because the reason most firms ask that question is it's just like a light-hearted relief that somebody at some stage has decided that firm are going to do. So any answer you give is fine, but you've got to be able to justify it and not go too over the top with it. So Matt Damon was fine, yeah, okay. And Superman was absolutely fine. He's a super person with superpowers, and that's what the question was.